How's it going, guys? Graham GSM Matthews here, and welcome back to another installment of Injection of Inspiration, where I offer helpful advice, motivational tips, etc., etc. Hope you guys are doing well. If you haven't already done so, check out all the previous episodes of Injection of Inspiration from right here on the channel. The plan going forward, as they have done for the past couple weeks, I've stayed true to my promise of doing new episodes every Saturday. I'm hoping to continue that when I go back to school in a couple days. So here is hoping we can continue that trend going forward. But yeah, for right now, expect new episodes every Saturday. So for today's episode, for today's edition, today's topic, this topic came to my mind literally right after I finished recording the last one for last week. And I thought it'd be a good one, not underestimating people. I know the old phrase, the old mantra, never underestimate your opponent, but just never underestimate anyone in general. And this can kind of go two ways here. And I'll discuss both ways in a second. For the first one being, you can never tell someone, I think I've talked about this before too, you can never tell someone that they will not be successful. I mean, I guess you can, but if anything else, you're just motivating them more to be successful. You have no idea what that person is capable of. The only thing that you know that anyone is capable of is what you are personally capable of. You wouldn't want anyone to tell you that, okay, you will never achieve this. You will never accomplish that. Why would you want to hear that? So why would you tell other people that they're never going to do this? They're never going to do that. And as I've probably said before here on the show, the only people that will tell you that you will never be successful in life are those that have never been successful in their own lives. And they want to take it out on you by telling you that you will never do this or do something that they never could. They're speaking solely from experience. And that's what we do. That's what human beings do. We speak solely from experience. But you cannot at all say just because that you didn't do something, that means that they can't do something either, if that makes sense. You know, you can never underestimate someone and tell them, you know, or they're never going to amount to anything in life. That is absolutely not true. And to tell them that they won't in an effort to motivate them, to actually accomplish something could go either way because people are very different. Not everyone's going to function the same way. You could tell that to someone, you know, not because you actually believe it, but because you want to motivate them and inspire them to be better, to prove you wrong. And they very well could go on to prove you wrong and motivate themselves and taking your comments, you know, to heart and using that as motivation to be better and to fulfill their own potential. Or they could take your comments to heart, believe that you're right, and then feel like they're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Feel like their self-worth is absolutely zero. And it could very well go either way. It doesn't mean you have to be strong or smart or whatever. Just the human mind works different ways depending on who you are. So let's avoid that altogether. Try not to tell people, even if you're using it as a way to motivate them, even if you don't actually believe it and you're just telling them that, to light a fire under their ass. There are better ways to do that by, say, I don't know, supporting them, showing positive energy, because that's the contagious shit. That's the contagious stuff, guys, is telling people, I support you, I know you can fucking do this. Do it for me. Do it for your fucking self. Do it for yourself and know that you can get it to that next level, but you need to want it. I talked about it last week in the whole motivational video, but you need to fucking want it. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to fucking get it. You can complain about your job, your life, all you fucking want. And I'm not talking about anyone specifically, or I know Jason and I talked about this last week. I'm not talking about anyone specifically, just in general here. But you're not going to get anywhere unless you want to get to that next level. I know people that that work their fucking asses off. That work their fucking asses off every single day to provide for themselves because they have no other option. They have no other choice. They're doing it for themselves. So why rest on your laurels? Why rely on anyone else when you can just simply rely on yourself? The only person that you will ever need in this lifetime, as many people as you may want, as many friends as you may want, as many boyfriends or girlfriends as you may want, the only person you will ever need in this fucking life is you. That's the only person you'll ever need is yourself. Because like I said, the only person that knows what you're capable of is you. And I've talked about that before, but this time I'm turning the tables and trying to tell you that if you know your own worth, then that person that you're talking about should hopefully know their own worth as well. Never underestimate anybody. They are capable of whatever the fuck they want to be capable of. Whatever they want to do in life, they will achieve. They will accomplish as long as they want it, as long as they want to. So instead of telling someone, oh, you suck, you're terrible, you know, you're never going to amount to anything, even if you don't like them, that's such a terrible, awful thing to say. That's just going to kill their confidence just right then and there. Right then and there, their confidence will be dead and they will not want to accomplish anything else. But if you show support and tell them that you are fucking capable of doing anything that you want to in this life, then maybe they will get to that next level and credit you for the reason that they were motivated and got to where they wanted to be in life. So that's one way of looking at it in terms of us underestimating people. You never really know. You never really know when it comes to that kind of thing. But at the same time, it kind of falls under the same category here, and I figured I would talk about it. Never underestimate people in terms of those. Okay, so here's an example. Say someone pisses you off one day, whether it be a friend, a family member, someone that you don't even really know, and they either piss you off, make you mad, or they're just kind of an asshole to you. And I've said before, if someone's a dick to you, and if someone says a not so nice comment to you and they chalk it up to, oh, I was just having a bad day, I'm sorry. Yeah, be sorry, but having a bad day is no fucking excuse. You still said it. You still obviously meant it. And even if you didn't, then you wouldn't have said it. To say that you had a bad day to cover up for the fact that you made an asshole comment does not count for anything. Take responsibility for your own actions, for what you say. It doesn't matter what happens to you in this lifetime. I've said this before as well. I hate to repeat myself and sound like a broken record. I apologize in advance. But all the shit that happens to you in your lifetime, the good and the bad, that stuff, more often than not, you can't control. But one thing that you can control is how you react. So to take that aggression out on someone else because you were fired or because someone passed away, which is understandable. That shit happens when we feel sorry for you and all that kind of thing. But you can't take that aggression out on other people because that's just as contagious as the positivity is. Negativity is just as contagious. And people would love to spread their misery, spread their misery with other people. And they're going to start with you by spreading misery by giving you an asshole comment and saying, I had a bad day, blah, blah, blah. But the point I'm trying to make, and I've said that a couple videos ago, but the point I'm trying to make for this video is that if someone tries to knock you down one day, like I said, made you mad, pissed you off, did something they didn't like, blah, blah, blah. Give it time. Give it a couple hours. Give it a day or so. Don't, overreact. I guess this kind of ties back to what I was saying in terms of you control how you react. Don't retaliate. I mean, I understand standing up for yourself. Don't take shit from anybody. But if someone does something that you feel is not so nice, don't go off on them or anything like that. Try to hold back as much as you can, even though it might be hard. And the hardest things to do in this life are usually the most worth it. And they happen for a reason, and you reap the rewards later. You reap the benefits later. But try not to go off on them. Try not to go off on them. Like I said, they might have a bad day, and they might apologize. They might end up apologizing. So never underestimate people. You might think, okay, this one person did this one act to me. They're fucking terrible. They're a dick. I hate them. I'm gonna go on social media and call them a fucking dickhead. They're terrible. That whole shit. And once you do that, then they have free game to do as many bad things as they want to you. Because you're no better than them in going on social media or in talking shit behind their back and all that other garbage. Just give it time. If you don't do anything back that justifies their comment to you, then more often than not, they'll come back and apologize. They'll say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, I was being an asshole. Whether it be, like I said, shortly thereafterwards, later that day, the next day, the next week, month, whatever. But if they don't, and there's a good chance they might not apologize for their actions, but even then, don't go off on a tirade. Oh, this guy's such a dick. Go on Facebook. Oh, this guy's such an asshole. This girl's such a bitch. That kind of thing does not help whatsoever. You are no better than them in doing that. For as long as they may have been, for as much as may have been in the wrong for what they did or what they said to you, you are no better off in talking shit about them, going on Twitter, going on Facebook, talking shit to your family about this guy. And there is something to be said for venting and for explaining the situation to someone. But to go literally out to the world and call this person the devil, call them terrible, call them awful, all this other shit, because they did something to you that you don't like, there could be much more to that story that you do not know. Like I said, it goes back to the title of this video. Do not underestimate anybody. Just because they may look like a dickhead doesn't mean they are a dickhead. Just because they look like a nice person doesn't mean they are a nice person. Do not judge a book by its cover. I know it's the most cliche saying, lesson, whatever, moral, moral. I know I always get that fucked up. In the book, no pun intended, but it is absolutely 100% true. You can't judge people based off of one action. You don't know the background behind why they did what they did, you know? And if something they said to you more often than not, and I said this to Jason a couple days ago when we were talking, that the reflection of what someone does or what someone says to you is not really a reflection of you, but rather of them. Whether they just had a bad day, again, no excuse, but keep that in mind, or something happened, something traumatic happened, or they are just a flat-out asshole or bitch. It doesn't really fucking matter. Again, you cannot go off on someone because they're a dick. The best thing you can do is look at them and say, that's not right. I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself. I said that before, but I'm not saying don't stand up for yourself. What I'm telling you to do is that if something happens to you that you don't like, don't overreact. If a coworker is being a dickhead to you, don't go say later, like 5 minutes after it happens, oh, I'm going to quit. I can't work with this person. Fuck them. They're dickheads. Give it time. Something may have happened that you do not know that is beyond your control. It has nothing to do with you. It might just have something going on with them, which is not to justify their actions by any means. I'm not saying that, okay, if someone's an asshole to you, you should just eat your shit and, just take your shit and eat it. You know what I mean? I'm not just saying you should eat shit. What I'm telling you to do is to not overreact, which is what people do all the fucking time, especially on social media. I was guilty of it years ago. I think everyone was guilty of it at one point or another, especially your younger self, but I've seen even adults do it. Shit will happen, and they'll go on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram, Snapchat, this guy's a dickhead, tell everyone else. Just chalk it up to whatever the fuck is wrong with that guy and say, you know what? It has nothing to do with me. What that guy said does not affect my overall being. Unless they physically hurt you, then there's obviously something wrong with that. Obviously, there's nothing right with someone verbally abusing you. But you got to look at it this way, that your physical being, you have not changed. After what that person said to you, you are still the same person that you were 5 minutes before that happened. You are still just as healthy now as you were before that person said whatever they said. If they physically did something to you, that's a different story. But again, you should not... It's like, the whole elementary school bullying thing. If someone's being a bully to you, to fight back is one thing, to stand up for yourself. If you are getting physically abused, and I'm talking punched in the face here, then yeah, fight back. But if someone's just being a dickhead to you, to punch them right back in the face is not the right thing to do. As much as you may think they deserve it, and they very well might, you are no better than them in resorting to violence and getting down to their level. Do not get down to that person's level. Do not get down to that person's level. Essentially, the title of this video, what I'm trying to say, is don't overreact. Don't blow it out of proportion. It was one instance. It was one action. If it's repeated over time and the person won't stop, they won't apologize, then do something about it. But that something is not to go on social media or to start talking shit about that person behind their back. Because that's only going to add fuel to the fire, because that's what they fucking want. They want you to respond. That's how just humans are. When they do shit to other people, it's because they want them to react, to respond, to acknowledge their attention. They might be deprived of attention in their lifetime. So they'll turn to you because they'll know that you react. Maybe their mom didn't pay enough attention to them as a kid. Whatever the fuck their problem is, it's on them. It's not on you. So the best thing that you can do is either chalk it up to whatever the fuck is wrong with them and move on, or just simply ignore it, or both, To resort to their level and to get down to that dirty level of doing whatever the fuck they're doing, talking shit, being a jackass, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, makes you no better than them. So do not get down to that level. Do not overreact. And like I said, just do not underestimate people. Just because someone has a history of being a slut or a fucking asshole or whatever, you don't know until you meet them yourself. In one instance, should not judge how that person is. Just because you had one interaction with that person does not mean that you know everything about them. Until you are in their shoes, and even if you're a family member, even if you're a fucking family member or a friend, you may still not know everything about that person. The only person that will know as much as anything about themselves as anyone else is them fucking selves. is themselves. So you really have the right to not, excuse me, I'm flipping over and falling over my words here, tripping over my words. You have the right, you do not have the right, to judge anybody, because you are no better than anyone else. Everybody is equal. Everybody is equal. Some people might resort to some lows every once in a while, but that's their own problem. That's their own prerogative. It's going to bite them in the ass later on in life. That's not just karma. That's just the way fucking shit works. And it may not seem like it now, but later on, those people do not get far. They do not get far at all. They will either die alone or something bad will happen to them. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying you should take joy in that happening. But just realize everything happens for a reason. Be the best you that you can fucking possibly be, and you'll reap the rewards. And good things will follow. So, again, guys, in a nutshell, don't underestimate people by telling them that they won't be successful, etc., etc. And also don't underestimate people or don't judge people in thinking, oh, because they were a dick this one day, they're always going to be a dick to me. You gotta think. Think before you act, I think, is the real life lesson here. Think before you act. Don't, just because one person says, oh, he was talking, there's someone's talking shit behind your back, just try to move on, as hard as that may be, as difficult as that may sound. You got to either move on, ignore it, or do something about it that doesn't see you, get down to that level, so you're doing the exact same thing that person is doing. Because by that point, you were no better than them. Everyone in this world is equal. That's the way that I feel. You may disagree, and that's completely okay, because that's how the world works. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is all opinion, it is all subjective. So just do you. This is all just one 21-year-old's advice. I know nothing more than you. We may have different experiences, but everyone pretty much knows the same shit. And even with lessons, and I know there's wisdom and stuff out there and whatever else, I do honestly think deep down everyone kind of knows these same morals, these same life lessons. It just takes longer for some people for it to really click, if that makes sense. For some, it might come sooner. For others, it might come later. But at some point, I think we all will truly understand these basic principles of life. In my opinion, again, that's just the way that I feel. But anyway, guys, before we get too philosophical here on injection of inspiration, you got your daily dose, so go out and have a great fucking weekend. We'll be back next Saturday, hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can get a video recorded. The next week should probably be busy. I'll be buying books. I'll be back in school. It's going to be crazy. My final semester of college, hallelujah. And I'll be probably doing a lot of ranting and raving in regards to the people I go to school with in the weeks and months to come right here on Injection of Inspiration. So that being said, guys, go out, have a stellar fucking Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That stuff, I appreciate it quite a bit. Immensely, I should say. It's a good word. So anyway, guys, be the best you that you can be. Don't underestimate people. Go out today. Own the fucking world, because I know you can. Look in that mirror when you wake up this morning and realize how awesome you can be. I know your awesomeness. Realize your own worth and realize that you can dominate this fucking world if you want to. As long as you want to, then you are motivated and no one can touch you. Realize that, guys. Be well. Have an awesome weekend. I'm Graham G. Samet. Don't have just an awesome weekend. You know what? Before we end here, don't have an awesome weekend. Have the best fucking weekend you possibly can. Have the best weekend you possibly can. Wake up every day, and if you think that to yourself, that, you know what? Today is going to fucking rule, because I'm going to make it the best day of my life, and you feel like that every single day. I know it's difficult, but if you wake up thinking that, you absolutely 110% will. Absolutely will. Guaranteed. Take my word for it. If you don't, it's on me. But I'm pretty sure if you have a positive mindset when you wake up in the morning, you feel good about yourself, you say, you know what? It doesn't matter how much sleep you get either. You know what? I'll save that for the next video. I'll save that for next week. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys. But bottom line here, be awesome. Realize your own amazingness, if that's a word. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch your ass down the road.